First, let's switch to English. This is a story about Cucarachita. And Cucarachita, well, she was the best looking cockroach there ever was. At least that's what her mother told her. Her antennae were both of equally length, and all 6 legs were straight. And they had this wonderful hairy looks. And her shields were shiny well, they mirrored each other. But when Cucarachita looked in the mirror, she saw a cockroach. And if there was one thing in Cucarachita's life that she hated, it was cockroaches. Ugh! So she lived in a cellar, in a dark cellar. And she never went outside unless the sun was gone. So, lucky for her, the supermarkets were open late. So every night she went out and did her shopping. And then when she did, after she paid the bill, she walked to that little board where people could have their own advertisements. And then she would put down the bags and read them. Spanish lessons. Well, since she was in Mexico, that was not necessary. Wanted cleaner. Guitar lessons for starters. You're tired of your looks? Do a complete makeover. If you're tired of your looks, do a complete... Nah. No. But somehow it grabbed her attention. So she took the advertisement and she took it with her. And she went home and she thought, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Am I gonna do it? Am I? So she unwrapped the shoppings. And then, well, she had to take a shower, because where can you think better than when you're having a shower? So while the rain was giving her a warm feeling, it gave her also a lot of inspiration. And she thought, yes, I am going to do it. I am going to do it. I'm going to do it tomorrow. So she took her phone and she set the alarm clock, and next day, in the morning, she woke up. She never did so, but now she did so in the morning. And then she went to Google Maps and she typed the address of the place where the makeover would take place. And she went out in the full sunshine. And she went there and they gave her a cappuccino and another cappuccino, and she had to wait a little. And then they start measuring her up. They measured her antennae, and they measured her legs, and they measured her belly. They measured everything there was to measure. And then they started. She got a corset, and her 2 middle legs, they were in the corset. And then she got this legging, so you didn't see all the hairs. And she got a beautiful blouse and an afro wig that would hide her antennae. And then she got this beautiful false lashes, and they made her lips ruby red. And then of course she got these high heels, and they gave her a Louis Vuitton bag, and that was to hang on her arm. And she learned that you don't put your legs like this, but you put your legs like this when you walk. And then you're behind, does wonderful things in the eyes of the person that walks behind you. And so they trained her all day. It was about 5 o'clock when they were ready. So she opened the door of the shop and she walked out with her Louis Vuitton bag. And she walked, and she walked, and within 2 minutes, there was Mr. Wolf, El Lobo. Oh, Cucarachita! Baby, you look lovely. Oh, thank you, Mr. Wolf. That is nice of you to say. Would you like to marry me? Well, that is a shock a bit. But, you know, Mr. Wolf, I promised my mother that my groom would sing on our wedding. So, please, let me hear what you would sing on our wedding. What? You want me to sing here on the street now? Oh, yes, please. Okay. Are you ready, baby? Oh, yes, I am. And it went on a bit longer than that. And Cucarachita said, "Oh, Mr. Lobo, I am a fan. I'm really a fan. But you know, my mother, she's a bit more old-fashioned than I am. And I'm afraid she wouldn't like that. So I'm sorry. But I will sign up for your fan club." And Mr. Lobo, well, he didn't mind at all. It happened more often to him. So, friendly, they said goodbye to each other, and they both went their separate ways. Within a couple of minutes, there was El Gato, the cat. And he said, "Wow, Cucarachita, baby, you look wonderful." Oh, thank you. I was going to ask you, would you want to be my pussycat? Would you want to be my baby? Would you want to marry me? Well, Mr. Cat, I just told Mr. Lobo that my mother, she wanted me to tell the groom that he had to sing on the wedding. What would you sing? And would you want to sing on our wedding? Well, if that is necessary, I will, huh? And what would you sing then? Are you ready? Are you ready? Oh, Mr. Gato, that is so wonderful. Oh, yeah, I would love to marry you, but you know, my mother, I don't think she will like that. I'm so sorry. Well, it is a pity. I am glad I asked you, for you are a beautiful woman. Goodbye. And they both went their separate ways. It was less than 5 minutes later when she saw a little grey-brownish rat. And he went like, frit, 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 frit. And then he approached Cucarachita, and his eyesight was not too well. So he came pretty close, and he said, "Oh, Cucarachita, oh, you look wonderful. I don't know if I dare to ask you, but would you want to marry me, please?" And Cucarachita thought, well, I gave the chance to Mr. Lobo and to El Gato. Why not give him the chance? So she asked him what he would sing on the wedding. But Mr. Rat was a bit shy. You want me to play here on the street? Yes, please. Can I please use my guitar? Yes, you can. So he took the guitar and he didn't even dare to look her in the eye. You are so beautiful to me. You are so beautiful to me. Can't you see? You're all I ever hoped for. You're everything I need. You are so beautiful to me. You are so beautiful to me. Oh, Cucarachita, marry me. And Cucarachita thought, oh, that is sticky. Yuckus, 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 yuckus. But I think my mother would like that. So she said, oh yes, please, Mr. Rat. I would like to marry you, and my mother will surely love your music. Me, myself, I like a bit more rough stuff, but, well, as long as my mother likes the music, it's cool. And so there was a wedding. And a wedding it was. Oh, there was this room of a professor on the university who gave lessons to people about storytelling. And while that lessons were going on, the kitchen was empty. Well, there was of course food. So they invited all cockroaches and all the rats in the neighborhood to come to that kitchen of the teacher. And there they had a wonderful time, and Reddy was playing his guitar, and all the cockroaches and rats, well, they danced on the sink and under the sink and on the waste bin and in the waste bin and in the cupboards. Everywhere there were cockroaches and rats. And they had a wonderful time. But when the party was over, it was time for the wedding night. And Cucarachita went into the bedroom first. But she thought, no way, I'm gonna undress myself. He will see me for who I am, and he will know that I'm a cockroach. So she lay in her bed, and she even wore her high heels. And she lay there under the blankets, as stiff as a plank. And Reddy came in and he said, oh, Cucarachita, I see you're afraid. No worries, dear, I love you. We don't have to do it on the wedding night. First, make sure you feel at home here. And Cucarachita, well, she loved him for that. And the second night he was patient again. And the third night and the fourth night. But after a month, he said, Cucarachita, listen, I'm gonna sleep in the spare room. And it is not because I don't love you. It is because I do love you. But I want you so much, and I'm afraid that if we are in bed together, I will do things that make you feel awful and that will make me feel awful, for I love you. So I'm very happy that we are married, but please allow me to sleep in the spare room. And he did. But Cucarachita lay awake all night. And next morning, well, Ratty was already reading the newspaper on the breakfast table. She was in the bathroom and she looked in the mirror and she saw a creature that she liked to see. But then she took off her wig and threw it in the bin. And she took some D-makeup and she wiped her mouth clean and she wiped her cheeks clean and she took the eyelashes and threw them away. And then finally, she untied that corset and and her legs were free for the first time. So she took a shower and needed one. And then when she was completely herself again, as she had been before, she tiptoed her way into the dining room and said, Ratty? Just a second, dear. I'm just reading about what Trump did now today. What an idiot. Oh, Ratty, please. Yeah, just a second. Ratty! Yeah, what? Oh, Cucarachita. Wow. You look lovely today. So natural. And then Cucarachita started running and running harder and faster. And then she took a jump and she jumped right through the newspaper. And all her 6 legs were embracing the rat. I said, oh, Ratty. And Ratty lifted her up and took her to the bathroom. And there in the double bed, they had a good time all morning and all afternoon and all evening and all night. And the next morning too. The neighbors might have complained. And I don't know whether that was for Ratty's screams or for Cucarachita's screams. But boy, did they have a great time! And a couple of months later, Cucarachita delivered her first nest of babies. And they were a bit different. Some of them had 4 legs, others had 5 or 6, and some of them had a beautiful long rat's tail and 1 or 2 or 3 antennae, and some of them had fur and others had shiny shields. But one thing was the same in all of them. Each of them knew that they were the most beautiful creature that had ever lived. And that was the story of Cucarachita. Thank you very much.